Yeah, robotics, artificial intelligence is one of the most exciting areas of developments today in the digital world. And as Georg and Greg explained, the opportunities are huge. Large opportunities ahead of us to embed more intelligence, hence more autonomy, into complex artifacts, be it physical artifacts. This is one big trend that is around robotics. We call embodied artificial intelligence into physical systems, physical artifacts, or more autonomy into systems that are more in the cyberspace, more virtual, for decision support systems, for analyzing patterns, for extracting more knowledge from data, etc. And the two tracks are extremely important. And they power today. I totally agree with what Greg said. I mean, artificial intelligence is with us since decades now, and it has peaks. Sometimes we have big hype around artificial intelligence, and very often the expectations and the promises of artificial intelligence were disappointing so far. But this time, I think the trend is there, and we see it. And scientists and technologists and industry worldwide were cautious with the new wave of AI, so they were waiting to see whether it's not yet another peak. But what is true is that computing power has increased significantly, which enables us to do more analysis with data, do more algorithms, implement more sophisticated algorithms, and also we have access to a larger set of data from which systems can learn, and this is a very important development. Systems can learn from wider data, and the thinking in terms of algorithm, how can we use this data, and this computing power has also evolved a lot with understanding, or with trying to mimic, I would say, if I simplify a lot, neural behaviors, and this is what we call deep learning today, inspired to a large extent from neural networks and how they work. So these all evolvement, and there is another track that is evolving also very important, which is about sensing techniques. So today with technology we can extract information from anything around the world, from a lot of things around the world, and that's also enriching the data sets, enriching our understanding of various behaviors, and embedding this into artificial systems that can interpret, act, decide, and help us do many things. The opportunities are there for smarter, more safer, higher functionality products and services. The opportunities are there in terms of our processes, and this is what Georg mentioned, be it automation in factories, but also in logistics, all type of processes, and we see today AI more in the hospital, for example, and the health system. It has implications in terms of better living, in terms of better business processes, in terms of smarter products all across sectors of the economy, and in terms of services, of course, on the web, with all the data that we can have and the analysis that we can bring. Opportunities are there, new business processes, new services, new products, new processes. It comes also with a lot of challenges. Challenges go from making sure that we do not raise the fears, and we do not exaggerate the fears or the threats that this technology can bring, science fiction. So challenges in terms of and dialogue with the citizens, are not to have blockages after development of this innovation that is unnecessary, but challenges also in terms of adapting our legal framework, and I'll come back to that, to be able to cope with this additional autonomy that is coming. And challenges also related to the introduction of higher automation in all types of jobs that indeed will change and will transform the work environment for the future, and we see it already. And we need to tackle all these challenges, and for us in Europe, we need to be able to seize the opportunities and address the challenges and adapt the development of this technology to our values, to the things we believe in. We better be in a situation where we master the technology, we have the clear knowledge, we have the industry in Europe, investing in Europe, and developing and seizing these opportunities ahead. And this is what we're trying to do at EU level. And this is what we try to do with the member states and our policy implications. First, investment in research, development, innovation. And I would say that in terms of the embodied AI, Europe is well positioned. As Georg mentioned, we have one of the largest programs for robotics worldwide. I'm telling this to Greg, so they come and invest in Europe as well. We have one of the largest programs, civilian programs for robotics, and we took the bet back in 2004 and 2005 to reinvest heavily in this area where the trends were on the other side. And I think now it's paying off. We have a very good presence of industry in this area, mainly in industrial robotics, where we have close to 1/3 of robots produced in Europe. I looked at recently the patents produced worldwide, new patents produced worldwide, and the origin of the patents, Europe is still number one, with Germany to a large extent, but also Sweden, UK, France. Large part of the patents initiated in Europe, filed elsewhere in the world to protect our patents, but still the largest part is produced in Europe, seconded by Japan, and then US comes after. When it comes to the robotics, embodied robotics, so we're good. We're good also in professional robots. This is the area that is growing, not only industrial robots that are in factories, but also good in professional robots, where these are the robots we find in construction, robots we find in hospitals for logistics, etc. It's a growing market. It's smaller than the industrial part, but we're good as well. 1 in 2 robots that go into these professional service markets are produced in Europe. And these are small and mid-sized companies that you probably never heard of, but they do produce maritime robotics, they produce surveillance robots, they produce robots that you find in our electric power generator. We're good in these areas. Where we're less good are in consumer-oriented robots. This is an area that is still embryonic, 1.2 billion euros turnover worldwide, but it's growing fastly. There we need to catch up and come back. And as usual, we're good in professional. When it comes to digital, we're less good when it comes to consumer. Where we also have a very good academic community is in this area of artificial intelligence, the cyber world, data analytics, deep learning. Very, very good academic community, but so far our major challenge is to be able to harness the power of data, and there we have a problem, of gathering data and having the data in Europe. There as well, I'm looking at Greg. If you want to bring the data to Europe, we'll be very happy, so that we can also harness this knowledge that is in the data accessible and be able to transform the harnessing of knowledge into the new products, new services. There is a big challenge. Very good academic community, but the business development is still slow. We're good. We're investing in R&D, both in embodied artificial intelligence and robotics, and we're more and more investing in AI, be it for data analytics, deep learning. We have a partnership. In robotics, we have a public-private partnership that includes all public and private actors in the field, called Spark. And in big data and analytics, we have another public-private partnerships where we try to see how can we use artificial intelligence, in particular deep learning, analytics, and data. Our investment in the total, be it robotics, is around 100 to 120 million euros per year, and research and development robotics. And in big data and AI, we have a similar amount that we're also putting in these other fields. This is research and development. We're also investing in the uptake of the technology across Europe. This is our digitization of industry, or Industry 4.0 initiative that my commissioner announced on the 19th of April, with a big push to make sure that this technology is latest, automation technology is latest, robotics technology latest, data analytics technology is uptaken by all industry across Europe. This is also very important to make sure that our industry makes the best and our businesses makes the best out of this technology. We have a set of actions that we have announced on this front. Third type of action is on the legislation. Legislation, we're looking at the very specific challenges that we see already emerging. Liability, safety, security, extremely important. The access to data to be able to harness this, and these are all part of our legislative proposals that are foreseen in the coming month. already we will have a communication on data economy that sets the scene for what we're going around data beginning of January. We will also have for the last quarter of 2017 a communication will address the liability, and we'll see whether we can have what type of legislation would be needed around the liability issues. You know, an autonomous system, an autonomous car that is on the road, who is liable if it has an accident? We're addressing the liability issue. But for these aspects, we're very cautious not to legislate too early, because we can kill innovation. What we want to do is test, experiment, and we're pushing a lot for large experimentation around autonomous vehicles so that we all understand what is that issue, what are the issues, and how can we legislate on that. This is something we're supporting currently, and a big initiative on connected and autonomous driving. So that's the legislative part: data, security of data, certification around liability, safety, and security, with a big initiative on cybersecurity we just launched. Fourth area was extremely important to address that challenge of adaptation of our skills and our workers to the digital transformation of our industry, to more automation, more autonomy that is coming, all type of systems. And there we announced, as you know, in July, the new skills initiative with our colleagues in DG Employment, and digital, and the digital transformation of our economy is a big part of this. We have launching a skills coalition next week. My commission launching a big skills coalition to make sure that we are all active in Europe and adapting our workforce to these initiatives. I'll stop there. It was long, but just to tell you what we're trying to do in this field. Many thanks.